Today, I'm going to check out the Harley Benton Fusion 2 with Floyd Rose. It is loaded with some impressive features, but how do they hold up once we kind of scrutinize them? This guitar is about $430 US. For $430 US, sound-wise, there was nothing that poked out to me as being not very impressive, other than the coil split, which I thought was a little weak, especially on the clean channel, but that is mostly because when you're coil splitting these pickups, the pickups are not very expensive, and I think Harley Benton kind of relies on that. Let me explain what they're up to. So Harley Benton is giving you a mahogany body. Then what you're seeing, the flame here, is veneer. It's a very thin sheet of wood veneer to give it the look that of a high-end guitar. There's no real downfall to that. Sonically, I can't imagine it's a huge difference in sound, especially once it's coated in all this polyurethane, polyester type finish. I can't imagine it's a huge difference in sound. But again, you got to keep in mind this is a $400 guitar, so we're not going to scrutinize it like you would a $3,000 guitar. The other thing is it has a Floyd Rose bridge. The bridge is real Floyd Rose, not licensed, but that's mostly because the licensing deal with Floyd Rose has expired. In other words, Floyd's patent has expired, and at this point, it's a trademark deal. So of course, you're going to find that you're not going to see too many licensed by Floyd Rose bridges compared to real Floyd Rose bridges. This one is probably a 1000 unit, which is made in Korea. It could be one made in China. But what I will tell you is the first thing I noticed was the tremolo arm is not very tight. It's kind of rickety, and it's not a very high-end Floyd Rose bridge. And as we know, if you don't have a nice Floyd Rose bridge, you will have tuning stability and issues. There's nothing on this bridge that makes me go, oh no, don't stay away from this. Just don't perceive that you're getting a very high-end $200-300 bridge. This is definitely in the $100 to $150 range. So the pickups are Roswell. That's a brand I think that Harley Benton owns or exclusively uses. The only mention I have is that the pickups are not installed very well. They're a little lopsided. I love that they added the spindle truss rod, and I like that they use Grover tuning keys. Although these are import tuning keys, they feel really good. They're still pretty good quality. I don't think you have any issues with that. So overall, I think you're holding a pretty nice guitar. Of course, the star of the show of this guitar is this neck. This is a roasted maple neck. This, of course, is flame maple on the back. This is an upgrade. So not only is roasted maple an upgrade for a lot of guitar companies, roasted flame maple is an upgrade. The fretboard is also flame. The only thing I noticed was on this one, the neck is dark, but the fretboard is light. In fact, the fretboard looked like it was dehydrated. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like chalky, but it's not the end of the world. It's just an aesthetic. I only noticed on this one. I've seen a couple others where they looked fine. One thing I really like that they did is they used the clay dots on this, or the white dots. They're kind of yellowish white color. I love that over the black dots. A lot of the manufacturers right now that are using roast maple necks are using black dots, and one of the things I noticed is that it's harder to see it, so these like pop a little easier. The neck carve is fantastic. If you're familiar with, it's smaller than a Fender neck for sure. Definitely has a kind of a Music Man kind of feel to it. It's definitely on the smaller neck feels of the roundness of the neck and how thin the neck is. It feels pretty good. I can imagine most players are going to identify with this neck. If you like chunkier necks, I'd probably stay away from this, but everybody else, medium to smaller neck platforms, this is definitely a comfort feel. In fact, I will say this, it actually feels better than some of the more expensive guitars I've held that have roasted maple necks. These have stainless steel frets, although you'll notice when you're playing them, they don't feel as shiny or as polished or highly detailed as some of the more expensive guitars that have the stainless steel frets with the roasted maple necks. But again, still quality, feels pretty good, no fret sprout, no issues with this one, and I let it sit for a while. However, I did have some issues when it first came in. I had to set it up. It had a lot of dead spots, and just adjust the neck, let it sit, adjust the neck, and eventually it worked itself out. But something to be aware of, although it didn't need any work, which is important, it wasn't like out of the box ready to play for sure. I love that they did the spindle truss rod. That makes it easier for a lot of you guys that are at-home hobbyists that want to do your own setups. This guitar is an easy guitar to adjust the neck. You don't have to worry about stripping out the truss rod or doing any damage. This is a pretty straightforward truss rod assembly. Overall, the guitar is pretty good. The question I have is, you know, what could you buy in this price range, you know, that would compete with this? And realistically, this guitar is competing with a ton of guitars that are in the $1,000 range. However, Sterling by Music Man does have a couple roasted maple neck guitars that are in the $600 range, maybe in the sevens, but not really in this price range. Harley Benton has really decided to be focused into a price point that's tough. The deal is with this guitar is, I think the way you want to look at this guitar is, if you're looking to buy this guitar, this style of guitar, the roasted maple neck, this is definitely the Sir Ibanez AZ Charvel look, right? This is the high-end kind of look you're going for. I think if you want to satisfy that kind of feeling and have a guitar that you feel is pretty good, I think you'd be fine. Keep in mind that I don't think you can get away with this for 400 bucks. You definitely want to upgrade those pickups, and you're looking at least another $200 for that. So you're putting in this guitar at about $630 to $650. You're desperately getting close to the $900 range of the Made in Mexico Charvels. And I think actually they're a better deal than what this is at that price point. They have a brand reputation. They feel a little nicer. The frets seemed a little bit more quality. The pickups are definitely Seymour Duncan's. So, it just depends on your budget. If you're trying to stay within budget, I think this is the way to go. But I think if you're trying to find a guitar like this and you don't want to go crazy $2,000 to $3,000 range, I would go with the Charvels. The other thing I want to point out, which I pointed out in my other videos I did with Harley Benton, is that they don't really pack the guitars really well. I was supposed to review another Harley Benton, and of course it was damaged. I couldn't review that because of the damage to the body and the neck. It was unplayable. And so this one did make it, however, but it was in the same box, so it really is a testimony of how strong the guitar is. The guitar is made in Indonesia, which puts it in the same category as guitars like the AZ Premium series and other high-end guitars that are made in Indonesia. I know that's a weird thing to say now, high-end guitars in Indonesia, but let's be honest, Indonesian guitars now are fetching easily $1,000 in a lot of categories. So we have to be honest and say, hey, look, this guitar could be more if it wasn't for the fact that the Harley Benton guys are just trying to hit a serious price point. This guitar, I think at $400, I think you'd be well served. I think it's a good guitar for the most part. My only concerns, again, were the bridge pickup and the neck pickup. I would definitely replace and be prepared. Like I said, I was actually concerned if I didn't get to adjust the neck correctly. I thought for sure I was gonna have to crown and level this thing because there was a couple frets that were concerning me, but like I said, I was able to work that out. On that note, I'm gonna let you guys go, but before you go, make sure if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can get more videos and updates about when I'm doing these reviews or instructional videos. And if you go ahead and hit the like button, that's a great way to show me that you enjoyed this style of video and I should do more of reviews like this. And as always, thank you so much for your time. And until next time, know your gear.